Hello, good afternoon. Welcome back to Two Times Dementia and Us podcast. I'm Frank.
I'm Gary.
I'm Tommy.
And we're here. Our podcast is about trying to raise some awareness and support for people who are going through, who've been diagnosed with dementia, and try and support them and their families. My two friends here, Tommy and Gary's fathers, sadly both passed away with the effect of dementia. It was a tough journey for both of them and myself. So we just want to try and share our experience and learning to try and support anyone who's in a similar situation. So I don't know if you want to add a bit more to that, gentlemen.
No, it's something that I guess our next guest is Steve Gardine from an independent charity in Bankery called Forget Me Not Club. We'd heard of them before. Tommy, you'd heard of them before me.
Yeah.
I think you ended up buying one of their badges or something like that as well.
My mum saw them and there was some kind of, you buy a badge and they donate some money towards that. So that was the first we'd heard of it.
Yeah. So Steve's going to tell us a bit more about the charity. But one of the reasons we've got a thing called the Two Times. So we organise various events for raising money for dementia awareness. So Forget Me Not Club is going to be our chosen charity for this year for the next 12 months. We're organising various different things. There's a Two Times concert in September. And one of the reasons that we chose these guys was because it's very much here and now. If we raise money for them, they can spend it the next day. It's more of a sort of a respite service, but Steve can tell us a bit more about that as well. But it's very much close and local, and a lot of people will get immediate help from anything that we raise for that as well.
And just before we move on, the reason why this is called Two Times, Tommy, do you mind this?
Yes, our dads were both called Tommy, or affectionately known as Tom. They knew each other growing up.
Oh, they were never really called Tom. We just made that bit up, really, did we?
Yeah, but now and again, it was more your dad would call me Tom. Yeah, vice versa. But Two Toms kind of rings true to the both of them. They used to drink in Murdos. So yeah, we thought we'd try and do something, raise awareness and keep their memory alive and help people along the way as well. And I think today's episode's good. Just so people know what's out there, help-wise. You know, we didn't know anything about respite when it started. Didn't know anything about you could day release kind of stuff, if you like. So I think to hear what Steve's got to say, I think it's going to be helpful for everyone.
I think that's going to be a common theme through all these podcasts, is getting that support, sort of post-diagnosis, how to help one another out. Because as you two said to me, you're just left on your own to fend for yourself almost, and it's quite overwhelming and bewildering. So anything we do to help is why we're here. So hand over to Steve and let him tell us what Forget Me Not are all about and what they can do to support.
Perfect. Cheers.
Thanking you.
Steve, thanks for joining us. This is Steve Gardine. He's the chairman of Forget Me Not Club in Bankery, who provides some help and support to people suffering from dementia. So Steve's kindly come along and agreed to share a wee bit more information about Forget Me Not and tell us what they do. So Steve, first of all, can you just tell us a little bit more about Forget Me Not, what they do and how it got started, please?
Aye, absolutely. So Forget Me Not's been it's been on the go now for in various forms for probably more than 15 years. In its current form, it's been in its resource centre in Bankery for the last 10. It started off as a sort of pop-up in scout huts and in various places, just wherever it could be, as a means to get people together who had been diagnosed with dementia, maybe had some form or maybe even a diagnosis, maybe just family members concerned and feeling like there would be benefit in them coming together with some folks that were, let's say, more aware of the kind of landscape of support, and also to arrange activities and things that would be kind of therapeutic and supportive. So it started off with that mission in mind. And as I say, it was done kind of by interested volunteers initially. There was a lady called Heather Morrison who started the charity. She was the kind of founder. Heather did a fantastic job of kind of creating something from nothing really to support people with dementia out in Deeside, particularly in the Bankery area. She had a care background, as did some of the other volunteers. So they all came at it through the angle of having some expertise in that initial group that did it voluntarily.
Thank you. And so how did you personally get involved with Forget Me Not?
I got involved I got asked to become a trustee in, I think, 2016, 2017. There were a couple of other people that I worked with that were local to Bankery who had already been involved in the charity. They'd been involved in the charity because family members had kind of came through it, and been supported by the charity. And then I got approached by one of them and said, look, Steve, would you be interested in coming on board in the board of trustees? And I kind of went along, got to know the charity a little bit. I did a couple of events as well. I got pulled into a Strictly Come Prancing event, which is a kind of annual event that was held by, as part of the fundraising by Forget Me Nots. So I did that. So I made a fool of myself dancing about in front of 250 folk out of Dardo and raised a bunch of money. And then as part of the legacy, I was a trustee for, well, I still am a trustee. I just happen to chair the board of trustees now and have done that for the last couple of years. So, I have now, there's no like family member of mine that's been supported by it. I got involved because I was asked to get involved, and then seeing what they did and the fantastic work that they do, and the fact that they need interested folk to help lead a charity, it's something I wanted to help out with, you know.
Excellent, thanks. Can you touch about the sort of typical clients you support, what activities you do with them, and
Absolutely.
and how many folks and families benefit for your weekly sessions?
Yeah, so well, start with that because that's an easy answer. There's about 85 just now, 85 clients directly supported, and obviously each of those clients have got a support network around about them as well. Family members, carers in some cases, professional carers in some cases, who facilitate their engagement with Forget Me Nots. Take them there in some cases. Some of the carers actually stay, although they're not actively involved in what we're doing, but they'll be there to support. But yeah, we're supporting 85 people directly just now, and that's a mixture of things. So there's sessions at our resource centre in Banchory, at Bennett House in Banchory. So we run kind of sessions there that we max out with maybe sort of 10 to 12 attendees at each of those sessions. We also have a pop-up about a bein that we do on a Monday, and on a Wednesday we go to Cartanaskeen, and on a Thursday we do outreach. So that's something we started over COVID. Okay. I didn't do outreach pre-COVID, but in the course of, I guess, reconfiguring how we could support people, there was a period, as we'll all remember, during COVID where socially distanced kind of bubbles could be created, and we took advantage of that to begin to go out and engage with our clients again. So we maintained our staff with the support of the various government schemes, and our staff were put to work to go out and visit our clients. Unfortunately, a lot of the clients, through being disconnected and being isolated, had, their condition had worsened and accelerated quite significantly. So we saw a big effect of that. So yeah, 85 folk. We dipped through COVID. We've came out. We've reconfigured our services a little bit. We've done these pop-ups now. They're full. So we're full at Cartanaskeen. We're full at a bein. So there's a question there about, do we do more of those? But again, it's about the limited staff and volunteers we've got, and how do we get the most people supported for the amount of resources.
The 85, is that you at capacity, or is there room for more? Do you need more staff or volunteers, or how do you increase that capacity?
Yeah, it's a really good question. There's a wee bit more capacity, I think it's fair to say. We could do more pop-ups, and what stops us doing that is just more staff, so it's more cost. So it's, in a world where we need to make sure that we're protecting our core, we need to be quite measured in anything that we stretch ourselves out into. We have to be careful with any threat in the core of the service we provide at Banchory. Banchory is, you could argue, the most straightforward way of increasing. So just now on a Thursday we do outreach and we don't run a session, so we could run a Thursday session at Banchory, so that would give another 10 to 12 that we could see. So there are ways we could increase capacity, not massively though. I think in terms of how we are now, we could do more pop-ups, yes, that's okay. We could have another day in Bennett House, but we would probably top out maybe about 100, maybe a little bit more than 100. Okay. That's probably within the boundaries of what we do now. Yeah. That's probably the max. Beyond that, you're into kind of strategic things like replicating what we do in Banchory somewhere else. Yeah. would be, the most obvious way of doing that.
Okay. So these sessions you're talking about typically fit sort of stuff.
No, great. Thanks for bringing it back to that. So real mixture. So the first thing I would say is there's a structured calendar. So these aren't ad hoc. People didn't turn up to Bennett House to watch TV and asleep. It's nae that kind of a place. When they come to Bennett House, there's structured activities. We pay professionals to come in and support some of them, and we have volunteers for others. So we had singing, we had dancing, we had seated sports, we had various seated yoga, there axe throwing, safe axe throwing. Obviously, no real axes, but it just shows.
It's pretty random.
Well, it is random, but it's about things that there's ping pong,
Just stimulation.
anything that stimulates and gets
really
people
wide-based, that.
exactly. Pet therapies. We have weekly visits from the nursery at Bankery Primary School and the nurseries around the area. So again, it's amazing how impactful that is on some of the clients certainly, and actually it's really good for the kids as well to have that multi-generational kind of connection. We get really good feedback for the clients and for their carers and for the staff about those sessions. So we do that every week as well. So it's a real mixed bag. And then when we do the pop-ups, it's a bit of a sort of subset of that. It's the things we can pack in a box and take with us, if you know what I mean. And we've got some nice, we've got overhead projectors, and we can put up memory kind of stuff on the screen. So we tap into when people join Forget Me Not Club, we ask their families and their friends that have maybe been involved in the referral process to give us some history. So, what have they done? What were their hobbies? What are their hobbies in some cases? Not were. What are their hobbies in some cases? And we can tap in and theme a little bit around that. We've got craft type basket weaving. We're doing basket weaving just now. It's a new one that is proven really popular. So we bring in a real mixture of what you'd call physical and kind of mental therapies, but always fun.
Aye.
And if somebody doesn't want to participate, we don't force them. Although we try and make it group activities, we've got a kind of plan B. The carers and the staff at Forget Me Not are brilliant in terms of recognising somebody's maybe not completely tuned in if it were 20D, and there'll be a way of maybe just either engaging them in a slightly different way or encouraging them to do something that's linked but not the same as everybody else, so that they feel that they're participating, included. Yeah.
And where about your clients come from?
Yeah, it's far and wide. It's far and wide, all the way up the Dee Valley. So that would be, predominance would be the Dee Valley, but we've got people come from Aberdeen City, we've got people come from north of the city, Ellen, Balmeedy, Newmacher. We've got some folk come from over Mearns or towards Stoney. Quite a few through the northeast side corridor into Aberdeen, Cooter, Maltimber, that kind of way. Out towards the north, Afford and Inverurie. So you can see one of the reasons why we go skiing is skiing begins to pick up that area slightly to the kind of north and into the east of us.
Yeah.
And that's saving 10 families per week having to take their family members all the way to Bankery. Aboyne is picking up the Bramar, Ballater, and Upper Dee Valley and Aboyne folks. So it's about maybe just trying to minimise the travel, because we kind of support people in terms of travel too. So it's on their family to support, or their carers to support getting them to Forget Me Not. But what we can do is try and make it a wee bit easier through these pop-ups, and that's what we've done. And yeah, as I say, they're full, and I wouldn't say we've got a waiting list, but we're kind of getting close to almost a waiting list for those pop-ups where we're thinking, well, actually, okay, what next?
Fit next.
Aye.
Good. And just kind of benefits are people getting for this, and their families getting for these activities, Steve?
Well, I think social connection, stimulation, physical stimulation. So keeping active, and it'd be a brave man that would say that it's demonstrable slowing down of a progressive and chronic disease, because that's what we're really dealing with here. But what we definitely get feedback from family members that people come out of a session at Forget Me Not usually with a smile on their face, with a spring in their step. It wasn't there when they went in, and maybe a bit more awareness, a bit more. So these things do have an impact. That's what I'm trying to say. Is being involved, being engaged, being part of a group. And then the counter of that was the COVID period, and when that was withdrawn in a hurry from a lot of people, and we saw a rapid degradation, unfortunately, in some of those were client based. So there's that bit of respite. So family and you know, it's, you know, within your series of podcasts, you're talking to a lot of people that have been directly impacted and directly impacted yourselves. It's very demanding on a family and on a family network to support a loved one that's going through dementia. So any respite in a safe and welcoming and actually positive environment like Forget Me Not is, you know, seen as a positive by the families.
Even when we came out to speak to you and you went into detail about the outreach, that's something that you explained, that the guys will go to somebody's house, they'll maybe take somebody for a walk, they'll sit with the person with dementia while the other one runs and does the errands as well. And that's the things that you take for granted.
Yeah.
It is difficult sometimes with trying to space.
It is, and it's amazing how you find how people kind of almost fit around. Well, that support's coming. I'll make the most of it. Certainly when I know it's there. When I know there's folk I can trust that's there to support. So it's all those things. It's, you know, the client themselves definitely benefits, the family benefits. There's also signposting information and things like that as well. It sounds a bit kind of drier, but the reality of it is it's a difficult situation for families to navigate. So we see ourselves as also being champions of, right, if you've got a question, just ask us. Because there's people here who have been asked that question dozens of times. Our staff, quite a number of our staff have previously been within the caring professions themselves. They've got a background maybe in adult mental health and working for council or health and social care partnerships. And even if they haven't been, they've become steeped in the reality of how to get support and how to maximise some of that support. So it's also about providing that kind of support to families as well. So, and we've done some work recently on where we got great support from Dana, who was our charity. We were their charity of the year last year. They've redone our website, and part of redoing their website is to make it easier to signpost out to some of the services and things so that people can, you know, any time of the day get a bit of the benefit of what the Forget Me Not know, so that we can access some of that insight that we've got. Just the referral process as well, that, you know, that is a process that we have. Somebody doesn't have to have a formal diagnosis to come in and benefit from Forget Me Not. We go through our own referral process where we evaluate and make sure that it kind of, the person's condition fits what we can do and how we can support them. But you know, that process itself also signposts and helps and supports the people. Yeah.
So as I kind of takes us to the next thing about how do people find out more about Forget Me Not and potentially get involved? And I realise you say you're resource constrained, but how can potentially they get some support for you guys?
Yeah, well, getting in touch. You know, if you've got any questions, we're out in Banchory. Our website's, you know, very nice and tidy and new now. The old one was a bit scrappy, but the new one's lovely.
Good.
We are on social media. We're on Facebook. We're on LinkedIn. We're on Instagram. So there's, you know, that can be looked up and you can access. You can message us through those forums as well. People check those messages. There's email, contact us type links that are there. In terms of support, anything from if you're out. If you fancy a run out D-side on a Saturday morning, we have a coffee morning every Saturday morning where you can come along, and there's usually some of our clients there, there's usually some of our staff there. You get a sense of the place, you get a sense of what we do there, and I obviously get a cup of tea and a fine bake as well while you're there. We get a little contribution for people when they come through the door. That's all part of the fundraising, and you get a sense of kind of being and what we do. Anything that anybody wants to do to support us from a fundraising point of view, brilliant. You know, you guys are supporting us. We have so much goodwill. It's really heartening the amount of goodwill that we get. Sometimes out of left field, people that we haven't even been engaged with, it's a friend of a friend or a colleague or something that's mentioned us, and suddenly they want to jump out of a plane and raise money for us, or they'll run a marathon and raise money for us, or they'll run a concert and raise money for us. We get so much goodwill, and we need it because we don't get, other than little bits of, you know, maybe closed grant funding that come for specific things. All of our operating costs are funded by money we raise ourselves. So we've got a full-time fundraising and events coordinator, Emily, who's fantastic, who engages with anybody that's supporting us. So if somebody wants to support us, we'll support them to support us as well. And we've got a part-time kind of grant coordinator as well, who keeps an eye on the grant funding landscape. But we have to, it's heavy lifting, you know, it costs us, you know, upwards of £20,000 a month to run Forget Me Not. And it's on us as a board of trustees to make sure that the funding's in place to give us continuity and keep that going, which is why we have to be a bit measured about how we stretch ourselves. But we are very motivated. We know that, to be frank, you know, D-side, we hear this all the time, D-side's lucky that it's there to support, but other communities in the region, they far over the hill, don't have that support, and if they don't have somebody who can take them to Bankery or take them to Skene or take them to a Bein, they don't get that support. So you know, we are challenging ourselves as a group to say, how can we be more impactful? You know, what can we do? But we have to be measured about that and nae kind of threaten our core.
Of course.
So we've been doing a bit of strategy work thinking about that, and you know, in our mind we've got this kind of idea cooking up that a kind of Bennett House 2 in another community that isn't being served just now, but coupled with, on the same kind of footprint, maybe a wee coffee shop and maybe maybe a little charity shop as well. So we're kind of doing revenue raising. We've got a social space for maybe carers to stay while we've got people in within the sessions.
Sure.
Something that's more of a kind of an evolved Bennett House, forget me not. So we've got this great idea and passion, but we need to do some things to make sure we don't threaten our core. So we're looking at getting a bit of a Friends of Forget Me Not group together that'll maybe look at that project and start thinking about that project, and then we'll have to look at different sources of funding to do that project. So you can see that would be the way, back to your question a while ago about, well, how do you really maximise, you know, if we did that, we could support another 150 folk somewhere. It could become 250 folk that we're supporting, 85. And that's how you really maximise your impact. So we're passionate about doing that, but we're also really careful that we don't want to threaten what we're doing. But you just now example.
Wonderful stuff.
I guess that's one of the reasons that when myself, Tom and Frank spoke about, right, we're going to do something for another charity this time, and your name come up, the charity come up, and once we'd done a wee bit of research, and Alan and I had come out and spoken to you, and I'd met you as well, that's the reason we decided to go with you guys, because if we give you money on a Thursday night, you've got it earmarked and it's spent on a Friday, and it's directly...
the cause and effect is very there. It is immediate. But as I say, we are, you know, this isn't a, you know, you ask the question, how can you help and how can you support? All of those things will help underpin our ability to be even more impactful and do our thing. You know, if we could do this in Veruri, or we could do this maybe further up into the kind of deeper into the kind of northeast that's not particularly well served, up Fraser, but a Peterhead way, there's lots of communities that would benefit from a forget me not. But we have to be careful, and building momentum through support is part of that. So the more we know that we've got support, the more confidence we can build as a group to say, well, actually, we are now at the point where we could pull the trigger and do something in another community. And the pop-ups are a way to bridge that. So they're a fairly low commitment way of doing it. And they do have an impact on our staffing, because we, you know, it's 3 staff and a couple of volunteers out for half a day, but it allows us to try.
Excellent. Brilliant. Steve, thank you so much.
No bother at all.
Wonderful organisation. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thanks for the opportunity to speak about it.
Thank you.
Well, that was very great to hear from Steve Gardine about the role of Forget Me Not Club and what they do and the great services delivered to dementia sufferers and their families across Aberdeenshire, particularly around D-side, and the range of services they provide and how they move forward. Gary, any particular things you want to add to that?
No, I think it's a fantastic service. I mean, the whole point of it is it's a sort of respite service in 2 forms. One where your loved ones can go along there and they get entertained, and they've got fantastic things to keep everybody amused, and basically it lets them engage with other people, and they're just having contact with people, and they're engaging their brains. But at the same time, the opposite side is actually going to someone's house to help them out, or let the wife go away doing shopping while they're maybe doing something with the guy as well. I think that's fantastic that they do that as well. But I guess it's unfortunate. It's just yet another charity that are struggling for cash, and the lack of assistance is basically minimal, you know.
I guess they're looking for volunteers as well. They're always looking and look out for, you know, people who can help. And
sure.
I think that they've got a fairly good bank of volunteers, but they're the same as every other charity. They could do with more help more frequently as well.
Yeah.
And more cash. And I guess that's what we're trying to do. Having them as our chosen charity, we want to sort of try and raise money for them, and help them in any way we can.
The thing, one of the things I took away from that was just the kind of range of things they do with our clients. I mean, Steve mentioned axe throwing would have been about the last thing I'd imagine somebody would do in that circumstances. He did assure us it was very safe, but you know, it wasn't. I'd expect the sort of bingo and the kind of dresser thing. You respect the older folks. The axe throwing completely took me by surprise. And that kind of shows the imagination and the energy about, which comes through in the way Steve talks, obviously, but it must calculate through the whole organisation, which is quite enchanting.
It's good, obviously, with Chief being the chairman. He's a very passionate guy and totally believes 110% of what they're trying to do as well. And I think having been out there and spoken to some of them, I think that's distilled all the way down to every member of staff as well.
That energy comes across, doesn't it?
It does. It was really good.
Really good.
I think it's just nice to know that there's got people doing that. You've got that, that they're not alone. There's probably a good few local, and we'll go to ourselves. And there's a lot of different things you can actually find.
It's funny, you'll know as well, Tom, that once you're actually thrown into this journey and Dad gets diagnosed, etc., there's a very limited amount of information out there about organisations like this. Now, my dad would have loved that, you know, when I chucked him out there, and with it being horrible, it's like a nursery for dads and mums and that, because you put them out there, they'll watch films, they get something to eat, they'll have blather, they have fun things, and it takes their memory away for a horrible condition that they've got. For that 3 hours, they're just totally in a different happy place. And that would have been good for the dads.
It would have been great. I mean, the same as yourself, we phoned and tried to get respite, but they're kind of limited to a week in a nursing home, something like that. If we knew there was someone else out there, like you say, axe throwing, my dad would have loved that.
He'd have just been in his element.
And just even dance, just anything like that, I wouldn't have known that was there.
I mean, the frustrating thing, it's almost on your doorstep.
Yeah, I
didn't even know about it.
No, it's really good.
I mean, I guess, and they put a downer on it, but my dad went into respite, and he went to a care home for a week, and it was a really crap thing dropping my dad off. But at least with this short term, like afternoon or day respite, that's a lot easier to comprehend.
Just a wee break, isn't it?
And it could have been, if my dad was going there, he could have been going away for half an hour, could have been away for 3 days, he'd been none the wiser. But I would have felt better knowing that I'm getting him back in 3 hours' time.
I think that's the beauty of it. No, good on them for doing that.
No, fantastic. And obviously, to anyone that's listening, this is, we are trying to raise funds for these guys, and if there's any way you want to help us, reach out and we can put you in touch with the charity. See if there's anything you can do to help us with that.
And you can buy tickets for the 2x3 in September the 27th. That goes to Forget Me Not.
To Forget Me Not,
On proceeds.
So that is an evening which will be hosted at the OGV podium on Windmill Brae. We're hoping to sell, this is the third time we've done it. The first twice we sold about 350, 400 tickets each time. A fantastic evening, lots of music, and it's a tenner a ticket for a whole evening, and all the money goes to the charity. So if we'll share details of that on our social media very shortly as well. Okay.
Thank you very much.
All good, thank you. And I think it's maybe time for a
beer taste.
A beer taste.
And beer tasting, okay.
Maybe that's,
Importance of self-care.
Okay.
Importance of self-care. Right then, we're back here in the tap room for our beer of the week to wrap up our podcast. So we put in the beer of the week because what we said before is looking after yourself and taking a bit of time to chill and look after your own mental health and well-being, spend a bit of time with friends and relax. It's going to be really important because it's a long, long haul dealing with this. So we thought we'd throw in a beer of the week to keep us right. So this week we have Obar, which is a 4% lager from Beer OGV. So gentlemen, see what you think.
So before we taste it as well, just a special thanks to last time we filmed it in the OGV tap room. This time we're actually still part of the OGV tap room, but in the lower part of the building, and it's the Sabrosa bar. You actually enter it from Windmill Brae. If you're old like us, you'll remember it as Henry J. Beans. Can't remember what it was called recently, but it's a fantastic space. Shapeshifters. But cheers to OGV for helping us out with this. And these were actually chosen by Archie the barman.
Good old Archie. And this is actually a rig pig we've got here. 4.4%.
Is it? I'm sorry about that.
No, I'm not getting on to it, but there's a difference in taste, and that would have looked a mess.
So we taste it. Well,
we'll go for rig pig. Scotty, see what you think. Give us your...
Oh, I'm thinking Swedish forest with a hint of bubblegum.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. A bit of yum yum.
Yum. Oh,
Yeah,
yum
a
yum.
yum yum with a Parma violet, but it's a overtone and an undertone, I think.
You reckon?
Yeah.
Oh, what does it smell like?
Yeah.
Have you smelled it? Oh, that is.
Oh, it's quite.
It's not quite tenants, though, is it?
It's not tenants.
It's not tenants.
No, it's not tenants.
Right.
But nice.
Is it fine though?
Good.
It's actually quite nice. But it's actually got a wee bit. Tastes like a wee bit like a shandy-ish.
Yeah.
There's a sort of lemonade there.
It's actually quite refreshing. Really refreshing.
Mm.
So it's the OGV Beer of the Week. It's available in OGV Tap
So
Room.
it's Big here at OGV Tap
Big
Room,
Pig.
Beer of the Week, and I think that wraps us up for this episode.
So
Goodbye.
perfect. Thank you very much. Cheers. Look forward to the next episode.
All the best.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Cheers.